Independent Porsche specialists are quietly begging their customers to walk away from certain cars, not because they are slow or ugly or unloved, but because they are financial time bombs, the cars that come back to the workshop again and again, the ones where a single failure can cost more than the car itself is worth. These are the Porsches that make an honest mechanic wince when they roll through the door. If you are shopping for a Porsche in 2026, chasing that tempting low price on a dream badge, this video could save you from years of misery and a stack of 5-figure repair bills. The crest on the bonnet promises greatness, but a few of these cars deliver mostly invoices. The pattern is almost always the same. A tempting low price hiding a known expensive weakness the seller is quietly hoping you have not researched, and being forewarned is exactly how you flip that from a trap into an opportunity. Today we count down the 12 Porsches that mechanics are begging you to avoid in 2026, and number 1 is the car they warn about more than any other. Let us count them down. Number 12, the Porsche 924. We start gently because the 924 will not bankrupt you, it will simply disappoint you. This was the entry-level Porsche built around an Audi-sourced engine, and the base cars are genuinely slow, the kind of slow that no amount of badge can disguise. The real problem in 2026 is parts, because many trim, interior, and model-specific pieces are now scarce and expensive to chase down, and a car worth very little can still cost real money to keep presentable. Mechanics do not fear the 924, they just gently steer you away from buying one as your first taste of the brand, because you will spend more time explaining that it is a real Porsche than enjoying it. The base car's sprint to 60 is measured with a calendar rather than a stopwatch, and once you have explained for the 10th time that yes, it really is a Porsche, the novelty wears thin. If you want the front-engined transaxle experience, they will point you at a good 944 or 968 instead. Cars that deliver the driving joy the 924 only hints at for not much more money. There is genuine collector interest in the very best 924 turbos, and those are a different conversation, but the ordinary base car remains the one mechanics quietly wave you past, a charming curiosity rather than the Porsche your money should be buying. Number 11, the Cayenne diesel. On paper, a diesel Cayenne sounds like the sensible one, big torque and long range, but specialists see the reality. These cars carry a dense thicket of emissions hardware, particulate filters, exhaust treatment, and complex sensors, all of which are expensive and temperamental once the warranty is long gone, and many of these cars led hard lives. Add the usual heavy SUV running costs and the complexity of the platform underneath, and a cheap, high-mileage diesel Cayenne becomes a car that nickel and dimes you until the bills arrive in 4 figures. A failed particulate filter or a tangle of exhaust treatment faults can run well into 4 figures on its own, and these are repairs that often lead to more repairs once the diagnosis begins. Layer on the same air suspension, cooling, and electronics gremlins that haunt every early Cayenne, and the diesel simply stacks an emissions headache on top of an already complex truck. Mechanics warn buyers off the neglected ones in particular, because chasing emissions faults on a tired diesel is an open-ended job that drains a bank account with nothing fun to show for it, and the only ones worth touching are low-mileage, fully documented cars that have lived on long motorway runs. Number 10, the Porsche 928. Here's where the warnings get serious. The 928 is a glorious front-engined V8 Grand Tourer, once the most expensive car Porsche sold, and today the bargain prices are a trap. It is gloriously complex. The timing belt is an interference design that destroys the engine if it lets go. The cooling system is full of aging parts that cost thousands to overhaul, and the period electronics throw faults that only a true specialist can chase. Parts are increasingly scarce and never cheap. Realistically, you should budget several $1,000s a year simply to keep one healthy, and you genuinely need a 928 specialist on call because a general garage will be lost among its complexity. The timing belt alone is a major scheduled service that must be done religiously, because letting it slip turns the engine into scrap in an instant, and the long out-of-production electronics mean a single obscure fault can have a specialist chasing wires for hours. A well-kept, documented S4 or GTS is a wonderful thing to own, but a neglected one bought on price is a bottomless pit, and mechanics beg buyers to chase the most cherished example they can afford rather than the cheapest, because with the 928 the purchase price is only ever the deposit. Number 9, the first-generation Boxster, the 986. The 986 made open-top Porsche motoring affordable, and it is a lovely thing to drive. But its M96 engine carries the infamous intermediate shaft bearing, the IMS, and if that bearing fails, it does not just stop the car, it destroys the entire engine. Add the rear main seal leaks, and on some cars, bore scoring, and you have a cheap roadster hiding a potential 5-figure failure. Mechanics do not hate the 986, they fear what an unsorted one can do to an unsuspecting buyer's wallet. The single-row bearing fitted to many of these cars is the most vulnerable of all, and the sensible fix is an upgraded bearing installed during a clutch change, which permanently removes the worry for a fraction of an engine's cost. If you must have one, they will tell you to buy only an example with the IMS already upgraded and the engine inspected with a bore scope. A sorted 986 is genuinely one of the great handling bargains in the Porsche world, fun and now properly cheap, so the goal is never to avoid the model outright, only to avoid the unsorted, undocumented car, which is the gamble you are likely to lose. Number 8. The early Cayenne and Boxster, the 987.1. The 987 sharpened everything the 986 started, and the mid-engine balance is sublime. But the early cars from this generation still carry the same intermediate shaft bearing worry as their predecessors. That single component hangs over the whole early run, and a failure means an engine, not a repair. Specialists love how these cars drive, which is exactly why it pains them to see buyers grab a cheap one with no idea of the risk underneath. The later cars in this family eventually moved to the redesigned engine that dropped the bearing entirely, so the worry is concentrated on the early examples, which are of course now the cheapest and most tempting. The frustrating part for specialists is that these are sublime cars to drive, arguably the sweetest handling Porsches of their era, so the temptation to grab a cheap one is enormous, and the discipline to insist on the bearing history and the bore scope is exactly what separates a delighted owner from a heartbroken one. The advice is always the same: confirm the bearing has been addressed, get a proper inspection with a bore scope of the bores, and never buy purely on a tempting price, because the cheapest 987 is very often the one hiding the most expensive surprise. Number 7. The early Macan with the 2-liter turbo. The Macan is a brilliant thing to drive, but the entry-level 2-liter Turbo 4 borrowed from the wider group brings its own headaches that specialists see regularly. The timing chain tensioner on this engine family is a known weak point. Carbon builds on the intake valves of the direct injection design, and servicing a Porsche-badged compact is never the bargain the purchase price implies. None of it is as catastrophic as an exploding flat 6, but the bills stack up quietly and relentlessly, and an out-of-warranty example bought cheap can hand you a chain job, a carbon clean, fresh coil packs, and a list of smaller faults all in short order. None of them trivial on a Porsche-badged car. A chain tensioner job and a walnut shell carbon clean are each a 4-figure visit, and on a neglected example they can arrive together along with a list of smaller niggles. It is worth remembering that the Macan with the larger V6, and particularly the GTS, is a far happier ownership proposition, so the warning here is specific to the cheapest entry-level Turbo 4 rather than the model as a whole. Mechanics simply want you to go in with your eyes open, buy a well-serviced car rather than the cheapest one on the forecourt, and budget for the upkeep a Porsche SUV will always demand, because gone and cheap and blind, the small bills never quite stop. If you enjoy this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Number 6. The first-generation Panamera, the 970. This is where depreciation and complexity combine into a genuine money pit. The early Panamera has lost the vast majority of its original value, which is exactly why it looks so tempting, but underneath that long body sits sophisticated air suspension, a complex dual-clutch gearbox, turbocharged engines on many trims, and dense electronics, every one of which is expensive when it fails. Mechanics see these cars arrive cheap and leave costly because a single air suspension or electronics fault can wipe out everything the low purchase price saved you. Early cars have shed the great majority of their value, and a single air strut or electronics failure can erase the entire saving in an afternoon. Set against a simpler saloon, it asks you to maintain the running gear of a sports car and the electronics of a luxury flagship at the same time, which is precisely why so many cheap ones end up abandoned at the first big quote. They beg buyers to remember that the cheap luxury barge with the 4-figure repair bill is no bargain at all, and that an out-of-warranty first-generation Panamera needs a serious maintenance fund standing behind it from day one. Number 5. The plug-in hybrid Cayenne and Panamera. The e-hybrid models promise the best of both worlds, but as they age out of warranty, they become some of the most worrying used Porsches a mechanic can think of. You now have all the complexity of a turbocharged combustion drivetrain, plus a high-voltage battery and its control systems. And a degraded or failed hybrid battery is the kind of repair that can approach the value of the entire used car. Buyers are drawn in by low prices and strong specifications, without understanding what an aging high-voltage system can cost to put right. A replacement high-voltage pack out of warranty is the sort of bill that can approach the value of the whole used car, which instantly turns a tempting bargain into a write-off. There is no easy aftermarket answer for a tired high-voltage pack the way there is for a worn combustion part, so the risk sits entirely on whoever happens to own the car when the battery finally fades. Specialists warn that unless the battery health is documented and the car has a complete history, the plug-in hybrids are a leap into the unknown, and the unknown on a Porsche is rarely cheap. Number 4. The 997.1 Carrera. This one stings, because the 997 is one of the best-loved modern 911 shapes, but the early 997.1 cars still carry the intermediate shaft bearing of the engines that came before. The later 997.2 from 2009 fixed this entirely with a new engine, which is exactly why specialists push buyers so hard toward the .2 and away from the cheaper .1. A 997.1 can also suffer bore scoring, and between the two issues, an unlucky buyer can face an engine rebuild on a car that looked like a sensible way into 911 ownership. A bore scoring or bearing failure here lands you with the same 5-figure rebuild as on the 996 on a car you bought to be sensible. Spend a little more and step up to the 997.2 with its redesigned engine, and the single biggest worry on the car simply disappears, which is about the cleanest upgrade money can buy anywhere in the 911 used market. Mechanics are not telling you the 997.1 is a bad car. They are telling you that the small saving over a 997.2 is simply not worth the size of the risk you are taking on. Number 3. The early Taycan. Porsche's first electric car is a technical marvel and a used market minefield at the same time. As these early cars come off warranty, the worry is not the motors, but the high-voltage system, because a battery or major electronic repair on an out-of-warranty Taycan is potentially astronomical, the kind of bill that can rival the car's whole value. Layer on the steepest depreciation of any modern Porsche, and you have a car that looks like an incredible bargain and could become an incredible liability. The high-voltage components typically carry a warranty of around 8 years or 100,000 miles, so the smart move is to buy comfortably inside that window. Combine the depreciation with that out-of-warranty exposure, and the math is stark, because a cheap early Taycan can lose you money on the way in and then again on a single repair, which is exactly why mechanics treat them with such caution. They urge buyers to verify the battery health report and confirm exactly what protection remains on those components, because without it, you are gambling on the single most expensive part of the entire car. Number 2. The first-generation Cayenne, the S and the Turbo. This is the classic Porsche money pit, the cheap V8 SUV that has bankrupted more optimistic buyers than almost anything else the company built. The plastic coolant pipes in the engine valley grow brittle and fail, dumping coolant and risking an overheat, with the proper aluminium fix running into thousands. The transfer case and propeller shaft bearing fails with a telltale vibration. The air suspension sags and the compressor burns out, and the thirsty V8 drinks premium relentlessly. The coolant pipe fix alone can run into the low thousands once labor is counted. The cardan shaft bearing announces itself with a droning vibration, and the air compressor dies, chasing a leak you ignored. Individually, each repair is survivable, but on a neglected car, they all queue up together and quickly exceed what the whole truck cost. The only ones worth owning are documented examples where the coolant pipes have already been upgraded to the aluminium fix and the suspension and driveline have been sorted, and even then you keep a fund in reserve. Mechanics beg buyers to understand that a cheap, unsorted first-generation Cayenne is not a saving, it is a stack of expensive jobs waiting to land all at once. Number 1. The Porsche 996 Carrera. The car mechanics warn about more than any other is also one of the most tempting, because the 996 is the cheapest way into a real water-cooled 911, and it is cheap for reasons that can cost you an entire engine. The M96 Flat 6 carries the intermediate shaft bearing that, when it fails, destroys the engine completely, a rebuild that runs from $15,000 to $25,000 or more, often well beyond the value of the car. On top of that sit rear main seal leaks and the genuine risk of bore scoring, where the cylinder walls wear and compression quietly dies. None of this means the 996 is a bad car to drive. It is wonderful, which is precisely the trap, because buyers fall for the price and the shape and skip the homework. Specialists beg you to do the opposite, to buy only a 996 with the IMS bearing already upgraded, a documented history, and a proper inspection including a bore scope of the bores. Get that right, and it is a bargain modern classic. Get it wrong, buy the cheapest unsorted car you can find, and you have bought a 5-figure engine failure with a beautiful body wrapped around it. The cruel irony is that a properly sorted 996 with the bearing solved and a clean inspection is one of the smartest ways into 911 ownership there is, which is exactly why mechanics do not hate the car. They only fear the cheap, unsorted gamble it so often becomes. That is why, in 2026, it sits at the very top of the list mechanics wish every buyer would respect. So there you have it, the 12 Porsches that the people who actually repair them are begging you to approach with real caution in 2026, from the merely disappointing 924 to the engine grenade lottery of the 996. Notice the thread running through all of them, because almost none of these are bad cars when they have been properly cared for and correctly bought. They become nightmares when buyers chase the lowest price, skip the inspection, and ignore the history. So if one of these tempts you, do the opposite. Get a specialist pre-purchase inspection, demand the full service record, and budget honestly for the known weak points before you sign. Buy the best documented example you can find rather than the cheapest, and even the cars on this list can be owned with confidence instead of fear. The badge is always worth chasing, just never on price alone, because on a Porsche, the cheapest car in the listings is almost always the most expensive one to actually own. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.